The human ship drifted alone in the endless dark of space. Its hull carried scars of old battles, scratches that told silent stories of survival. From a distance, the vessel looked weak. Faint lights flickered across its body, and its engines burned low as if the fuel was almost gone. The ship looked broken, forgotten, and helpless. Around it stretched the vast ocean of stars, glowing cold and distant. Planets spun far away, and nebula clouds moved like slow storms of color. But near the drifting human ship, silence ruled. The kind of silence that felt heavy, the kind that pressed against the mind. The aliens watching from their hidden outpost saw this silence as weakness. Their scanners read faint energy, their ears filled with laughter, sharp and mocking. To them, the human ship was no more than prey, a lone animal drifting into the hunting ground. One alien commander leaned back in his chair. His eyes glowed, pale in the dim light of his vessel. With a cruel smile, he ordered his fighters to prepare. "Easy kill," he muttered, and his crew cheered. They had seen human ships before, but never one so alone, never one so broken. Inside the human vessel, the crew was silent too, but not with laughter. They moved with calm hands, checking systems, whispering to one another. Every motion was controlled. Their faces showed no fear, no panic, only patience. They waited, as if they already knew what was coming. The captain stood at the center of the control room. His eyes watched the stars with sharp focus. The screens around him displayed the alien movement, scouts circling like vultures. The captain did not move, only listened to the faint hum of his ship's heart. His crew waited for his signal, their breath steady in the cold air. Outside, the ship drifted as if dead. Its armor bore cracks. Its surface carried rust where paint had peeled away. The alien saw a ruin, but the ruin was only a mask. Beneath the scarred plates and broken lights, the human ship carried secrets. Secrets built in silence, hidden from the eyes of the galaxy. The alien fighters broke formation and spread around the vessel. Their engines burned bright, shadows flashing against the human hull. They sent a signal, words of mockery carried in static and broken human speech. Lone human, easy prey, surrender ship. Their voices hissed with laughter, confident and cruel. The captain did not answer. His crew did not answer. The human ship floated quiet and patient, like a predator holding its breath beneath dark water. One alien scout, eager for blood, fired a warning shot. A flash of energy cut across the silence and struck the human hull. Sparks flew, metal burned, and for a moment, the ship shuddered as if wounded. The aliens cheered again, but inside, the human crew remained calm. The captain lowered his gaze and spoke in a quiet voice. His words were not for the aliens, but for his crew. "Wait," he said, his voice steady as stone. Another alien fighter moved closer, circling like a shark, its weapons locked on target. The human ship still did not move. To the aliens, the prey looked weaker with every second, ready to fall. But deep within the human ship's heart, systems awoke. Lights shifted in hidden corridors. Armor panels hummed with hidden power. The silence outside grew heavier. Even the aliens in their laughter felt a strange weight pressing in. Something about the ship did not feel right, though it looked so broken. The commander narrowed his eyes, but pride pushed aside caution. He ordered the strike. Engines roared as alien fighters locked their weapons. Energy built in their cannons. Red lights glowed against the hull of the human vessel. The prey had no escape. The aliens smelled victory, and in their arrogance, they did not see the trap closing around them. Inside the control room, the captain finally raised his hand. His crew straightened, waiting. His eyes burned with a calm fire as he gave the first true command. "Let them come closer." The crew obeyed. They touched controls with steady fingers, their faces pale in the dim glow of the ship. Systems hummed, louder. Energy lines hidden beneath old scars began to shine with faint red light. The vessel's heartbeat grew stronger. But outside, nothing showed. To alien eyes, the human ship still looked broken, its lights faint, its body drifting like a corpse in the cold dark. The commander sneered. His fleet circled tighter, their weapons aimed, their engines thundered in the silence. And all around them, space itself seemed to hold its breath. The prey waited. The hunters laughed. But the silence, heavy and endless, whispered a warning they could not hear. The human ship drifted on, calm and still. Beneath its broken armor, it waited like a beast hidden beneath shadows, claws ready but unseen. The silence was not weakness. It was the promise of something about to awaken. And in that silence, the first spark of fear touched the alien commander's heart, though he could not yet name it. The alien fleet tightened its circle around the lone human ship. Their engines burned like blue fire in the dark. The commander's voice rang through the comms of his ships, sharp and proud. "Finish this. Tear them apart." His crew roared with excitement. For them, it was not war. It was a hunt. The first wave of alien fighters dropped into formation. Their wings opened, weapons glowing like tiny suns. From a distance, the human ship still floated as if dead. No shields, no movement, only silence. The aliens mistook silence for surrender. Then, with a crack of energy, the first alien fighter fired. A beam of light tore through the dark, striking the human ship. Metal flared, sparks scattered. To alien eyes, the vessel shook, weak and ready to collapse. They howled in triumph, but inside the human ship, the crew stayed steady. No one shouted, no one panicked. The captain's eyes never left the screen that showed enemy positions. His voice carried through the room, low but unshaken. "Hold. Do not return fire yet." The aliens fired again. Blast after blast lit the void, striking the human hull. More sparks flew. To the hunters, it was the sound of victory, but to the prey, it was patience. Beneath the hull, hidden systems stirred. Plates shifted where no eye could see. Old scars hid the glow of new machines. The heart of the ship beat louder, and with every beat, power gathered in silence. One young, alien pilot rushed forward, eager to claim the kill. His fighter screamed through the void, cannons hot, wings cutting the cold. He locked his sights on the human vessel's bridge and prepared to fire. And that was the moment the captain spoke. Again, his command fell like steel. Now. At once the human ship changed. Armor plates slid apart, revealing hidden ports that glowed red like the eyes of a waking beast. The ship, once broken, now pulsed with life. A burst of energy roared from its side. Not a weak shot, not a desperate defense, but a weapon of impossible strength. The first alien fighter, the one that rushed too close, vanished in a single strike. No debris, no flame, just light, and silence where it once had been. The alien fleet froze in shock. Their laughter died. Their scanners blinked with warnings they had never seen before. The human ship moved. It no longer drifted. Its engines flared with deep crimson light. Slowly, like a predator rising from the dark, it turned its bow toward the fleet. The commander shouted for his fighters to regroup. But fear had already slipped into their voices. "What is this weapon? How can one ship—" Their words broke in static. The captain gave no answer. He raised his hand again, and his crew unleashed the second strike. This time, 2 cannons lit up. 2 alien ships vanished in fire. The dark of space burned bright with their deaths. Panic swept through the fleet. Some pilots pulled back. Others fired wildly, their shots missing as fear shook their hands. They had thought they hunted a crippled vessel. Instead, they had awakened a warship born from human desperation, carrying weapons no alien had imagined. The commander's pride twisted into rage. His voice cracked through the comms. "Do not retreat. Overwhelm them." The aliens swarmed, trying to drown the human ship in fire. Dozens of beams shot through the dark, hammering against its hull. Explosions flared across its surface. But the ship endured. The cracks in its armor sealed with hidden plating. Energy shields, faint and red, shimmered to life. Inside, the human crew worked with deadly calm. Their hands moved across controls, as if they had trained for this very moment 1,000 times. No wasted breath, no wasted motion. Every strike they made was chosen with precision. Another alien fighter fell. Then another. The human ship spun with sudden speed, releasing blasts from its belly guns. The void lit up with destruction. The predators were bleeding, and the prey had become the hunter. The commander's jaw tightened. His mind screamed with denial. This was not how it was meant to be. Humans were fragile. Humans were weak. He told himself this as his fleet died before his eyes. The captain of the human ship spoke once more, his words cold and sharp. "They think we are broken. Let them learn." His ship obeyed. Cannons roared. Missiles streaked through the black, guided by silent codes. Explosions shook the fleet. One alien ship after another became wreckage drifting in the stars. Fear spread like fire among the aliens. The hunters who once laughed now begged their commander for retreat. Their voices cracked with terror, but his pride chained them to the fight. He had promised an easy victory. Now he tasted bitter regret, and still the human ship pressed forward, alone, unbroken. The battle had only begun, but already the silence of space was filled with screams of alien defeat. The alien fleet staggered under the sudden power of the human ship. Wreckage drifted in the void, glowing with fire that slowly faded into the dark. The silence between explosions felt heavier than before, as if space itself was holding its breath. The alien commander's claws dug into the arms of his chair. His pride burned hotter than the wreckage of his ships. He had promised his warriors an easy victory. Now those same warriors screamed in fear across his comms. Their voices cracked, no longer filled with laughter, but with panic. The commander refused to believe it. "It is only a trick," he shouted, forcing strength into his tone. "The human vessel cannot fight forever. Press them harder." But deep inside, a cold seed of doubt had begun to grow. The human ship moved again. Its engines blazed crimson, far brighter than before. The vessel no longer looked broken. Instead, it cut through the dark like a blade, sharp and alive. Its armor glowed with lines of red light as hidden systems came alive. Panels on its surface slid open, revealing more weapons, more secrets. From the alien viewports, it looked less like a ship and more like a beast waking from its cage. The alien fighters regrouped, circling close to form a wall of fire. They thought numbers would crush the humans. They thought sheer force could end the nightmare. Weapons charged, engines howled, and the hunters moved in for the kill. That was exactly what the captain had been waiting for. Inside the human vessel, the control room glowed with dim red light. The captain stood tall, his face calm. His crew worked without fear, eyes fixed on their stations. Every one of them knew the plan. Every one of them had been waiting for this moment. The captain's voice was steady. "Lock the grid." At once the ship shifted, antennas extended, panels opened, hidden devices came alive, glowing with strange light. To the aliens it looked like madness, broken parts unfolding into strange shapes. But in truth it was the trap. Energy spread across the void like an invisible net. The human ship released waves of coded signals, bursts of soundless data hidden within the black. Alien systems shuddered. Their scanners blinked with static. Their targeting screens went dark. The first fighter spun out of control, its engines dead. The second followed, weapons failing before they could fire. One by one, alien ships lost their sight. The net closed around them, and in their blindness, panic roared louder than orders. The commander slammed his fist against his console. "What have they done? Why cannot we see?" His words fell into chaos as more of his fleet drifted helpless in the trap. The captain raised his hand again. His order was simple. "Fire." The ship obeyed. Cannons lit the void, striking blind targets with precision. Missiles cut through the dark, guided by the very signals that blinded the aliens. Explosions tore across the circle. Ships that had once laughed now burned in silence. The trap was not just strength, it was intelligence. Every move had been planned. Every weakness of the alien fleet had been studied. The humans had not come unprepared. They had come to teach a lesson. One alien pilot cried out through the comms, "We cannot fight this. It is not prey. It is death." Another shouted for retreat, but the net held them close. The trap did not let them flee. Their engines stuttered, their weapons useless. The human ship cut them down like a blade through glass. The commander's pride broke at last. His voice trembled as he tried to command order, but his words carried no strength. His fleet had lost faith in him. They no longer saw him as a leader. They saw only the glowing red beast tearing through their ranks. Inside the human ship, the crew did not cheer. They did not smile. Their faces stayed hard, eyes fixed on the battle. To them, this was not glory. It was survival. It was war. The captain spoke quietly. His voice meant only for his people. They wanted us weak. They wanted us broken. Instead, we gave them the trap they deserved. Another wave of fire erupted. Another group of alien ships became drifting wrecks. The trap tightened, leaving fewer and fewer alive. The commander, shaking with rage and fear, gave the only order left to him. "Retreat, break free if you can, quack, escape." But escape was only a dream. The human ship, once a silent ruin, now glowed with the light of hidden power. It was no longer prey, no longer broken. It was a weapon, a lesson, and a warning carved into the stars. And as the last of the aliens tried to flee, the humans showed no mercy. The trap was sealed. The price had only begun to be paid. The void burned with wreckage. Alien ships drifted like broken bones across the stars, their flames flickering out into silence. Where once a proud fleet had circled with laughter, now only panic remained. The commander sat frozen in his chair, his claws trembling against the metal. His fleet was blind. His hunters had become prey. And the lone human ship, glowing red with hidden power, was cutting through them with ruthless precision. "Regroup," he shouted, his voice cracking. "Form a wall. Overwhelm them." But his orders carried no strength. Fear had already poisoned his warriors. Voices broke across the comms, filled not with discipline, but with dread. Some begged for escape. Others cursed the humans with trembling voices. And others had already gone silent, consumed in fire. The human ship moved like no ship should move. It twisted through the dark with speed that seemed impossible for its size. One moment it was still, drifting like a shadow. The next it struck with sudden fury, cannons roaring, missiles screaming, fire swallowing its targets whole. Alien fighters tried to match it, but their weapons failed, their systems crippled by the trap. Their beams scattered uselessly. Their targeting could not lock. Every strike they made fell into empty space. Inside the human ship, the crew worked with quiet focus. Their hands moved across consoles, eyes locked on the shifting battlefield. Every move they made was measured. Every strike was chosen. They did not waste energy. They did not waste time. The captain's voice guided them like steel. Cut their wings, leave them no way out. At his order, the ship shifted again. Cannons roared, striking down alien fighters as they tried to flee. Engines flared and died. One by one, the circle broke apart, pieces scattering across the dark. The four aliens who once laughed now screamed. Their cries filled the comms, echoing through the void like the sound of dying beasts. The commander slammed his fist against his console, but his pride had already shattered. "This cannot be," he whispered to himself. "Humans cannot do this. One ship cannot do this." But it was happening, and nothing could stop it. The human ship advanced with cold fury. Its weapons glowed like the breath of a volcano, fire spilling into the black. Every alien vessel that tried to escape was cut down. Everyone that tried to fight was torn apart. The void became a graveyard, lit by red fire and drifting bones of steel. The commander's own flagship shook as explosions rippled across the fleet. He shouted for reinforcements, but there were none close enough to help. This was the fleet he had trusted. This was the fleet he had led to the hunt. And now, it was dying before his eyes. Inside the human ship, no one smiled. No one celebrated. They moved with quiet hands and steady hearts as if this battle had always been certain. Their eyes carried no joy in killing, only cold necessity. To them, this was not revenge. It was survival. The captain stood tall at the center of the room, his face lit by the glow of screens showing alien defeat. He gave another order, his voice calm as ever. Press forward. Break their core. His ship obeyed. Engines flared crimson. Cannons roared. The human vessel cut through the last line of alien defense. Missiles streaked through the dark and struck the commander's closest escorts. The explosions lit the void like false suns. The commander gritted his teeth. His pride fought against his fear, but the truth clawed at him with every breath. This was no crippled ship. This was no broken prey. It was a weapon beyond his understanding. Across the comms, one alien pilot screamed, "They are not weak. They are death itself." His words ended in fire as the human guns tore him apart. The commander's heart pounded. His fleet was gone. His power was gone. His pride was gone. Only fear remained. Still, he gave one last desperate order. "All ships, ram them. If weapons fail, use your bodies." But the order came too late. The human ship spun with ruthless grace. Its guns lit up, its traps tightened, and the last of the alien fighters fell in pieces. Fire spread across the stars. Silence swallowed the screams. The hunt was over. Inside, the captain lowered his hand. His crew slowed their motions, systems cooling, weapons dimming. The battle was finished. The trap had worked. The aliens had paid. The captain spoke one final line, his voice steady and cold. "Let the galaxy hear this lesson. Humans are never prey." The ship drifted forward through the wreckage, alone, but unbroken. Alone, but victorious. And behind it, the dark of space carried the graveyard of those who had once dared to laugh. The battlefield was silent now. Flames from broken alien ships drifted like dying stars, glowing faint in the endless dark. Pieces of metal, shattered wings, and frozen bodies turned slowly in the void, carried by no wind, only silence. The fleet, that had come with laughter, had become dust. The alien commander sat slumped in his chair. His hands shook, claws scraping uselessly against the console. Around him, alarms wailed, red light flashing across the ruined bridge. His ship was broken, his fleet gone. Pride, once sharp as a blade, now lay shattered in his chest. He could not understand. A single human ship had destroyed them all. A vessel that looked weak, alone, and dying had become the blade that cut his fleet apart. On the comms, silence stretched. No warriors answered his call. No ships remained to obey. Only static filled the air, broken now and then by the last screams of pilots who had already fallen. He lifted his head slowly, eyes burning with hatred and despair. His voice cracked with the last of his pride. "Humans, this is not victory. This is only the beginning. You will pay." But no one heard him. His ship shuddered as another blast tore through its side. The human vessel's cannons had locked on and the end had come. The commander closed his eyes as the final explosion consumed him. His flagship became another burning corpse in the sea of wreckage. The human ship drifted forward through the ruins. Its engines glowed red, steady and alive. The crew sat in silence, their eyes fixed on screens filled with destruction. No one cheered. No one spoke of glory. They had won, but they had seen the cost. The captain stood at the center of the control room, his face unreadable. He looked at the wreckage outside, at the fire slowly fading into cold darkness. His voice was calm, almost quiet. "They thought us weak. They thought us broken. Now they know the price of their arrogance." The crew listened, silent and heavy with thought. They had survived. They had shown strength. But deep in their hearts, each of them knew this was not the end. Aliens they had destroyed were only one fleet. Behind them lay an empire that would hear of this loss. An empire that would not forgive. The captain's gaze did not waver. His eyes burned with a fire that matched the glow of his ship. "Set our course," he said. "Not home. Not yet." The helmsman hesitated. "Captain, Where? The answer came without pause. Deeper, into their space. Let them feel the shadow of what they tried to hunt. The crew obeyed. Engines roared brighter. The ship turned away from the ruins, leaving behind the graveyard of the alien fleet. Its bow faced the stars where the Empire waited, unaware that death was already moving toward them. Behind them, silence claimed the battlefield. The fire of broken ships faded into cold embers, drifting alone in the void. No survivors would return to warn the Empire. No message would carry the truth of what had happened. Only the humans knew, and the galaxy would learn soon enough. The ship, scarred and glowing, disappeared into the darkness, carrying with it the weight of war. It was no longer just a vessel, it was a warning, a promise, a spark that could set. The stars on fire. The aliens had attacked a lone human ship. They had laughed. They had mocked. They had seen weakness where strength waited in silence. And now, they had paid the price. But the true price had not yet been counted, because war was coming.